Hey everybody, this is Brian from Carving is Fun. In this video I'm going to share with you how I made my chessboard to finish up my chess set whittling project that I made here. The whole project was fun and pretty easy to do. It was a little bit time consuming, but you know what? I had a great time making it. Now to make the chessboard, you're going to want a piece of wood that's going to be big enough so that you can divide it by 8 going across, and it's still going to have enough space so that each square is going to be a little bit bigger than your actual chess piece. Since my chess pieces are about 1 inch in diameter, I opted to use a 12-inch by 12-inch slab of wood here. It was not really easy to do in the wood shop, so I had to buy a full-on 4-foot by 12-inch piece of wood and just cut it to size. So you might need a wood saw if you can't find a 12 by 12. And then after that, you're gonna need some tools to carve and shape with. So you can use a chip carving knife if you want to, but I primarily used a v-gouge and a couple chisels to round and make little gouges in the wood. And after that, you're going to want whatever paint or stain that you're going to use to show the different color squares. And then you're going to want a pencil and some sort of a straight edge to create straight and even lines with, and a tape measure to make sure you're spacing everything out equally. Alright, so first things first, you're going to want to make sure you get the wood cut to size. In doing so, I made sure I measured the width of it before I actually cut the length off. That way I'm making a perfect square, because sometimes when you get a 12-inch wide piece of wood, it's going to be just a little bit skinnier than that. So you're going to want to make sure you're cutting it to about the same exact length as the width, so you don't have to do any fancy measurements for the width of each of the squares. After you cut the board to the right length and width that you want, go ahead and hit it with some sandpaper. I used some 220 grit sandpaper and set it along with the grain to remove any of the tooling marks from when the board was made. So what I did from there is I went and took one of my chisels and I beveled off all the sides right here. I did this first because I knew when I beveled the edges, I'm actually going to reduce the overall width on the top of the board, which I'm going to be using to measure with, which ended up being about 1 3/8 wide per square. So after that, I used my straight edge and my pencil and made lines all the way across. And then I started adding my stain. Now this part, I should have done something a little bit different, where I just made the gouges or cuts, like a light gouge or cut going all the way across on the line first before applying the stain. I think that might work better, so if I do it again next time I do that, this is primarily because it would help prevent some overflow from some of the paint, because I did have some issues where I thought I could keep it within the lines, and well, that just didn't happen. So you gotta account for that. Now, like I said, you can also use a v-gouge or a chip carving knife. Both will work just fine. The v-gouge is a little bit faster, as you can make a straight line very fast. But you can also do it with your chip carving knife. So you just have to make sure you're doing it right here and follow the line. This might take some practice for you. Make sure you're getting all the way across, and then flip it around and just try and meet that line up. If you do it right, it should pop right off. Now don't worry about the lines being perfectly straight. Even with the v-gouge, for me, it wasn't perfectly straight in some cases because I got a little carried away, or the green kind of directed me to a different angle. So either one will work. The v-gouge is much faster, so if you have the option to use that, I would highly recommend using the v-gouge. Then after that, like I said, deepen some of the cuts and then do some cleanup work. You might have to remove some bleed over like I had to do, or I accidentally dabbed some of the stain in another square. Then after you get done making all your gouge marks and touching up everything, removing most of your blemishes with the chisel, you're going to probably want to go ahead and use some sandpaper to remove off any of your excess stain or paint that might have touched elsewhere, and then apply a finishing coat to the whole thing, including the darker spots that you did. I used some beeswax paste. It was super fast, super easy. Just apply it and buff it off. Let it sit for a little bit to dry up, and it creates a nice little protective layer. Now, if you want to further protect it, you can put a little bit of felt on the bottom of your chess pieces. and it will help add a little soft barrier on your chessboard so you don't scratch it up while you're using it. Now if you want to see how I made all the other chess pieces, go ahead and check out my chess making series. I'll show you everything from making the pawns to the kings and queens. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you have yourself a great day.